All right, we are back. Let's see. So, yesterday we built out the authentication stuff, and then we spent some time figuring out how Nuxtjs works for a framework. And now we're just going to continue that. We will probably build out some of the features as layouts and then make those layouts work later on. Probably won't get that today, but we'll go get everything else. So let's see where we're at, what we've got left to do, and then we can go from there. So based on what we did yesterday, let's just run the app and see what shows up, what doesn't show up, and then what we need to change to make everything work the way we want it to. My thoughts right now is everything will be driven in the nav bar until somebody logs in. And once they've logged in, then they can drive from components. So what we could do is produce some almost clickable boxes that we can use, and each one of those will have what they are and what they do, and then that brings you to a secondary page that you can actually do the functionality from. So based on that, it's on the wrong screen right now, hold on. All right, so based on what we have right now, we have this, and then if we click sign in, we actually do multi authentication. So it remembers me from the cookie that I stored, and then we can just kind of do the login, click continue, and move on. The difference between what we had yesterday and what we have today is I went and cleaned some of it up off stream, because if you remember yesterday, you may have seen that it wasn't working correctly, and like our environments weren't working correctly. So I've fixed all of that. So now what we have is like functioning code that works and actually loads from environments versus loading hard-coded figures. So we should be in a much better space than we were yesterday, where I struggled to get anything to work. So based on that, let's talk about what we need to remove, and I can also show what we fixed yesterday. So the issue we were having was this environment wasn't working the way it's supposed to. Like it would load undefined, and that's naturally because we're using this Windows machine versus like a Mac or a Linux machine. So it was causing in our nuxconfig.js file, this part was just, this would be undefined. So with this, so when you loaded the auth settings, it would just be nothing. So we fix that by using the and this happened off stream. So we use the .env package to actually do the loading of those files. Alongside that, we fixed the prettier and linting problems. So now we should be able to do that without fighting too much. And then from now, we should just be able to just code whatever we need to, and we shouldn't have the same problem we had last time, which was to the saving issue. Which reminds me, using the format on save, we should probably do that real quick. It's not turned on right now. Format on save. Save without formatting. Toggle formatting. That didn't help me. Isn't that the... Okay. Let's see if somebody over at Stack Overflow has the answer. Ah, there you go. Just need to use the send.json file and add this, which you can do with the control comma, and then it's probably in here as a selectable these days. Let's see here. Or code actions on save. Let's see what we have right now. Set this to true. We'll even set this to true, and sure, we'll just save time. That makes life a little easier for everybody if we just save on everything. All right, so from here, we should probably look at this nav bar. This nav bar right now has these two links, which we actually we don't care about the about. Like, we're never going to use that. We put that in there yesterday, so we can probably move that out, and we can just do some cleanup. Like, we're not going to use this, and then we can go from there. Also, I talked about this yesterday. One of the things I wanted, and one of the things that we didn't have originally, was the ability to stop people from being able to be logged in, and then people from registering. So I removed all of that. So now when somebody does sign up, they have to be done through the admin portal, which is different than what we originally did yesterday, which was that you could just register and everything logged in. So when you go to the site outside of a cached session, like this, for example, you get this now, and there's no sign up sheet. So for some reason, that's weird. Let's go back to my stream manager. Apparently my stream manager just decided to close. Sorry, there we go, now we're back. So yeah, so now you won't see that, you'll just see this screen. So you can't sign in. Even if you click this, it will continue with Google, but you won't be able to do it because your account isn't live. And I want to look at see if we can remove this too, so that there's no confusion about, like, it's you log in or you do nothing, which I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm sure that's something you can turn off. All right, so let's look at what we need to do. And so we need to remove this div. Basically, we need to remove all of this, and then this top secret page, which tells me who I am when it's logged. Like, it actually doesn't tell you who I am. It tells you what your email address is, because right now I think mine is changed to my name, and that's not reflective right now. But we will want to use that in the nav bar at the top, right? So we can do a full screen nav bar that then we can drop out into something smaller when we're using like a smaller device, or if it's iframed or anything like that, because we want the ability to make sure that when we do something like our responsive design needs, currently it's not terrible, but like if we set this to responsive and let's say we it becomes unresponsive at a certain like pixel, like I think it's probably like this is pretty fine, like it's 283 pixels wide, but you never know what someone might be using. So we'll try and fix some of that too, because like this should probably be centered once it's down in that media frame rules, and some other stuff like that. And then this homepage will just, once they sign in, will display essentially this like div will become like a box, and that box will contain anything that we need to do. So let's see what we can do with that. So let's start there. Let's start with cleanup because that's probably the quickest stuff that we need. Like this can actually stay for now, but this nav bar, we can get rid of these two links here. We can get rid of that one. We can leave that one. We can get rid of this, which just basically says if we're logged in. And then we'll leave these two rules in. One is sign off, one of them sign in. So now we should be able to basically leave that as is for now. And then let's see. So we're keeping this. What did I keep? Apparently I didn't keep anything. Did I imagine that we... oh, yep, okay. Yeah, so these can go out of the nav bar, right, that's right. And then we'll leave this as is for now. We'll leave this as is. This logo can be removed. Let's see where it's referenced first. So let's look for... yeah, there we go. It's only used in the testing because I think I removed it yesterday, so we can remove the test stuff out. As much as I imagine there will be some testing, it definitely won't be. We definitely won't be testing that kind of stuff. Like we won't be testing if the icon has appeared, because who cares? Let's see. It's probably on a spec, right? Yep. It's just a random logo spec test. So let's remove that out. Let's make sure there's not one. Let's make sure there's not a reference to that somewhere else. No. Okay. So now we can probably get rid of this. So basically the cleanup is important from our perspective because like I don't want there to be additional stuff that I don't want to have to load. Because we talked about yesterday how I want to reduce the bandwidth from what it is now to something else. So we'll take that out too. Let's just keep. So the server's still compiled, so that's good. So let's see. Yep, we want that, and it's scoped. Navbar Nuxt goes in here, which is fine. Pages, all right. We'll keep that one. We can delete this page out. The index just imports that secret div, but that component div will be how we load will it though? Maybe. We'll have to look at that. I imagine that's probably true. This is a super secret page, so we don't need this page. We can remove this readme. And when using this directory contains statics files, each file inside the directory is mapped to this slash. Thus, you want to delete this readme before going to production. For example, robot.txt. All right, so we do need to keep this folder, but we can delete because we will have robot.txt files to deal with. So let me just turn the music down more. No. All right, so now the default layout is fine. I don't think this will change too much. This is fine. This is fine. All right, so let's look at it from where we are now. Okay, so now we just have the sign off, the home. Click that, we'll click sign in. We'll get the verified stuff. and that by the way, I actually set to be agnostic in the sense that we can use email or SMS or the recovery code provided. So there's like 10 different ways that we can go about that. So we don't have to worry too much. If you like, if for some reason you don't want to link your phone, you can just link your email, and like the email is provided, so it's not a big deal because the email is the username. So let's go back. It's kind of weird that you can go back during that piece. Anyway, just auth page, right? So this piece in the code can also be removed. So let's find where this is. Yep, go away. I'm pressing the wrong buttons because this keyboard is usually used on a Mac. So now we're like, I'm flip-flopping. So now I keep pressing what is the Windows key, which is the Mac command key right now, because I haven't programmed it to be the other way around. So let's see here. We need to find it's not the home page. Let's see here. Is it in here? Nope. You know when you do something and it's been a whole day since you've done it? That's where we're at right now. Let's see. Well, we could just search on one of the words, right? So we could just do... Nope, wrong buttons again. There we go. We could just do this instead. Right, here we go. So we want to leave this here, and then for now we can remove this div. We'll leave the content div there, but we don't need anything else right now. We'll leave this h1 here too, actually. And the reason is, if we leave the h1 there, we'll know that the auth is still working when we make changes. So let's do that. So if we just remove this out, hit the save button. Apparently it's become nut on my screen. All right, that's better. Okay, so this is hello friend, and then when you log in, which I'll just do the code real quick, just so you can see, this now will show. Apparently it's not going to show the actual hello, but if you refresh, I bet it will show up. Huh, maybe not. But that should be my name. So there's clearly a bug there with the user auth returned state, which is fine. It's not a big deal because we're not really going to use it that way. So we do need to pull up Tailwind Css because we want to build like a Tailwind nav file. Let's see, Tailwind, maybe just nav file, and then we can say building a nav file layout with Flexbox is probably the best option, because we'll want to do, mostly because I don't know how the CSS works for this. But if you look at it, it looks like they're just adding what would be the flex item. So this would just be like display flex, and then item center would just be like center self. So it looks like that's what they're doing, but we can look at the source and see. Let's see here. Yeah, so it looks like if we were to use this template, it would give us the same experience. They're basically doing nothing. special. It looks like they're just adding what you would class as the saved it. What you would class as the CSS properties. So, and then it looks like, let's see. So that's all the images that they were using, but oh, that's that. I don't care about that. Let's see if they have right. So they're doing some extensions for variations of sizing, but we won't worry about that because we don't care about that. And then are they doing any additional, like, yeah, here we go. So they're just using these components. So my understanding is that when we set the Nuxt up, that like Tailwind should automatically be enabled, so we shouldn't have to worry too much. But I guess we'll find out once we look at something. So to test it out, I guess what we could do is just create. If we just do the header with no div, and then see what gets returned by using the classes and see if it actually acts as the flexed item and the right size, and if it's justified between, we can test that out with like a couple different divs. But I want to see if these classes actually work out of the box, or we have to do additional stuff to make it work. So this is our current index, but we want the nav bar. So this is currently what we have. Like, it's fairly rudimentary, it's nothing special. So if we just do that every time. I probably didn't copy and paste it either. Oh, I did. If we change this to a header like this, and then just do a div around the home like this, so that we can say like, okay, we definitely know that it's being pushed properly, and then we can set one here, or like that, so that we're good to go. And then we can say like, okay, did it work, or is there more for me to do? So it looks like it did work the way I expected it to. Let's find out. Give me developer tools, and we can see if like it's actually that, or if something else is happening here. Yeah, so it's adding those because look, it's got display effects here. It's aligning those items in the center. Like, we could remove this and then remove the space between, and then we get them over here, and then we could just remove the flex altogether and get the weird like double on top. So it's definitely working, and it's adding that background color of 900 gray. So that's a good thing. That means that we didn't have to do any more setup, and what we have now is good. So with that being said, what I imagine is that this would be as is on that one side, and then I think we would do something like this, and then this would be to somewhere. We'll do exact, and we'll set this one to so these will all be logined versus anything else. So we would have things like add, and then we'll just close up that, and then we'll have So these are just placeholders for now. I don't know if it's going to complain that we're using the same thing over and over again, but we'll find out. Remove. And then maybe we'd have one more link that goes to probably like the admin dashboard. Now these are all things that we still have to build out. Like we haven't even thought about how we're going to build these components, but I want to see how it looks. Okay, see, I knew it was going to complain about something. Oh, I didn't close out the actual. That seems like a fair complaint. We didn't actually close out the. We didn't close this out, so like it's not going to be any good. So let's see here. Let's just go ahead and save now, and that should be okay. Okay, well, we've got some friendly errors here. Has no matching end tag. You are correct. Somewhere does not have matching end tag. Let's see. Oh, Nutlink. It's definitely not the correct name. Okay. So now it's okay. So everything's good now. So now we should have home, add, remove, admin dashboard. Man, let me change this color. Jeez. I just selected this column randomly because that's what they had. So let's just remove it completely. And then now we should be back to like plain. There we go. All right. So we've got home, add, remove, admin dashboard, and then the sign off on its own. And then like, obviously all these we can click and things will happen. But right now we don't have any concept of a couple things. First, we don't know how Vue does these in the sense that like, if we click this, we actually just want component to load on the screen, and we don't want to like refresh the whole page. So I'm imagining that we can just use what Angular had previously, which is the ability to do templating. So let's see if that is the case. I'll create like a really like basic web page and see what happens like if we do that. So and then this might actually be wrong. We might not need Nux links. We might need something else to just do that work. Because what I really want is like this to show up and nothing else. So let's look at that. So if that is the case, we can say that is that the case though? I don't know if that's the case. Because I mean, I suppose it could be. I mean, let's see. Is that a page itself that we would be displaying, or would it be a component that we would be showing? Now, I suppose in real world scenario, this would be like the admin. So actually, I think it is a page, and we're not going to want to do something else. So we could do like add.view, and then do a template, and we want this one, and then we'll do a div inside that says addworks. Close that tag out. Similar to what you do, like when you, there's a couple. I'm going to be a polyfill prettier problem. You should be fixing those on save. Oh, I know why. Lol. Doesn't like CRF. There you go. That's compiling. Okay, so now what we could do is just change this page to be like slash. I don't think you have to load the page, right? You can just do this. This is what learning is all about. So, I mean, let's try it, see what happens. Like, the server could, or the client could just complain. It didn't, so click add. This page cannot be found. Right, so, like, we have to tell, I guess we have to tell Nux that, hey, there's this new page, so let's see here. What's the odds that it's probably in this file, maybe? Yeah, see, here you go. Actually, maybe not. Modules, plugins, CSS, loadings. Okay, so we need the routing so that it knows this is here. Okay, so good start would be to, I guess, Google how to do that with Nux, because I know how to do it with, yep, Nuxtjs. What's the word I'm looking for? Page. Let's do it that way. So blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so we would want routing. Oh, well, maybe I put it in the wrong spot actually. So this is the file tree. Okay, we'll automatically generate this dynamic routes. Well, if that's the true, slash user will go here. Oh, so I think I just did the route wrong. So the route actually should be, was it navbar? Yeah, it should be that, because it, according to, at least according to that document, the route does admin and then does add. So let's see here. All right, so add works. So that's exactly what we want. So let's add all the other pages that we want, at least in the admin side of things, and then we can work on how we want to handle the other piece. We have two kind of options that I'm floating with. The first one is to do like we build out a page that has just a bunch of different boxes that you can click on, and that click takes you to a page to use. Or we could just set a new page as we go. So let's make the remove and the admin dashboard available. Okay, so in here, some new admin pages. We got remove.view. We got admin. I guess just dashboard is probably a perfectly acceptable name, because that would be admin and then dashboard, so that's fine. And then, although we could just make this one big page, and then they can select the ones that they want. Actually, I think I'm going to keep it this way. I want to keep it segregated. Usually I would roll this up into a dashboard and then have like, hey, click here for remove, and then that would do whatever they want. But if we do that, it might get a bit confusing, so let's add another add remove dashboard. I think that's fine. So in the dashboard, so it's dashboard, and did I probably shouldn't do that, right? I should probably do this. And then just do remove, and then dashboard should be dashboard. All right, and then you can complain about whatever, which is probably like this because it keeps setting itself back. Let me force that line sequence real quick. VS Code line sequence default. Allow comment to change the default line sequence. Supercode 275. Okay, also blah 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 blah. Use N for line and RN for CFFR. Okay, why wouldn't they just have this as a setting? Maybe it is a setting now. I suppose it could be a setting now that's like forever old. So let's take a look. View. Is it shift this P line? Because lining, add line, comment, line, select lines, change end of line sequence. Does that just do? Yeah, okay. Well, that didn't help. References. Opens. Preferences. Well, let's see. Maybe if we go, there is another way to get here. Yeah, there we go. Try line. Scroll last line, render final new lines. Is anybody in the chat right now need? Because that would have been helpful. Let's try. Specify the end of line used by proofreader. Okay, that might actually fix our problem. So let's find out. Because it's complaining right now that these are Sierras, but I suppose for now we'll just set this to line, and I'll figure out, like off stream, like we've been playing with Praria, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So we can figure that out afterwards. All right, so now in theory, these should all work now. Nope, they're not going to work until we change the navbar. So this should be admin/remove, and this should be admin/dashboard. Right. So now we should be able to click this, and we'll go here, and we'll go here, and we'll go here, and we'll go home. All right, so that part all works as expected. Then what we would like to happen on, when I click this, okay, it does add the admin. Okay. So one thing that we do have to bear in mind is in auth 0 packages, you can do things like you can set roles, and I'm wondering if those roles can be pulled in through the application, and then we could do something using what we have right now, like using the auth 0 plugin for Vue. So right now I have this, like, here's the auth 0, there's no local strategy, and then in this server we have pull in this, and then if it's dev, do this, and somewhere else, I know we have. Oh, excuse me. The $auth is logged in, but I'm wondering if there's a $auth user dot like role, and then we can compare that and say if the user is if the user is logged in and the username is whatever. I mean, the user role is admin. We can show those screens, else we won't show them at all. And that would simplify a lot of things because we could build out the non admin screen, which is literally just that use screen, and then we could build out the admin screens afterwards. So let's see, what is the package called for this? It's called Nuxtjs auth. Of course it is, because what else would it be called? Nuxtjs auth npm package. Okay, so we now have this auth package, and let's see, do they have a usage? Yeah, that's probably true. That might be why everything is really slow. I forgot to plug in the laptop that we're using. Okay, let me just set myself to a quick intermission while I figure that out.